Welcome to the Catholic Life Coach Podcast. My name is Carla Fitz. I am a certified life coach, wife, and mom of two beautiful little girls. My hope for this podcast is to offer support and empower other Catholic women to live their most authentic life, to share life coaching tools from a Catholic perspective in order to help you live a more fulfilling life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. Let's get started. Hello, friends. Welcome to this episode. I am standing at my desk and just enjoying the view out of my window. We have this ginormous tree and everything is turning orange and yellow and red. And the tree that I have in front of me is usually actually pretty green for the most part. And I just have been enjoying this fall season as much as I can. Yesterday, we went on a couple of walks with my girls, just us two, and the girls were running around, throwing leaves at each other. And it was such a joy to just spend time outside. I have been talking to my husband that I have been missing walking a lot because of my back issues. And being able to just walk, even if it's just around the block, has been so powerful for me. So much that then yesterday night, we went back out and went on a second walk. It was a longer walk, and I was so unbelievably thankful that I could handle it. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update because I know I had mentioned I was having some back issues and I had not been able to walk. So it has been fantastic to be outside, especially during the season that things are changing. And to me is a memory that takes me back to Venezuela so much. We used to go on trips a lot. As a family, when I was growing up, we used to go on trips a lot. And our favorite place to go was up in the mountains in Mérida. And if you've never seen it, yeah, it's called Mérida, Venezuela, and it is stunning. It's foggy there. It's so many colors everywhere. The landscape is absolutely gorgeous. And this time of the year here in Nebraska, I just go right back home. I go right back into feeling that coziness and that familiar feeling of just being warm and safe in our home and seeing so many colors outside, especially right before we head into winter, right? Like this is just beautiful and we must enjoy it while we have it because it doesn't last very long here in Nebraska. So yeah, just enjoying the time with our family, enjoying the time off that I have and the blessings that I have in being able to be home with my girls and carry this business from home. So yeah, just counting every single blessing that God has given us. I hope you're also doing the same. How are you guys doing? How's your week going? It's supposed to get pretty cold outside, so I'm trying to spend as much time as I can outside on purpose with my girls. So anyhow, today's episode, I wanted to talk about how to reach your goals. And I'm going to break it down into a few steps and then go into them and explain what I mean and give you some examples so that it's a little bit of a teaching thing, but also I want it to be very tangible and I want you to understand it and I want to explain it in the best way that I can. And for those of you who do not know, I used to be a teacher. And so this is just, I love being able to teach you all and to share what I've learned and to help you, especially when it comes to reaching your goals. This is something that I practice myself and that I teach my clients as well, because when it comes to reaching our goals, it's a process, you guys. When I was trying to lose the weight, it was a process for me to reach the goal, right? And I think so often we forget that the best part of reaching our goals is actually the journey. It is whom we become on the way to our goal. I think so often we focus so much on reaching that goal so that we feel better. And I talked a little bit about this before, where we think that once we get there, it's going to be better. We're going to feel better. We're going to think better. We're going to be a different person and be better there than we are right now. And that's not the case, right? Like when you know that life is 50-50, you know that we have a process and we have have amazing things right now, and we'll have amazing things there as well, but life is always 50-50. You start to recognize and enjoy the journey from here to that goal rather than beating yourself up because you're not there yet. Okay, so I wanted to break it down, what this process looks like for me and how I teach it as well to my clients, and give it to you guys to utilize and maybe go at it in a different perspective. So the first thing that I love teaching is that the first step that we need to do in order to reach our goals is to get clear. We need to find clarity in what it is we are feeling called to create. Get clear on what your soul feels called to create, not what your brain thinks is possible, not what your brain is telling you is going to make sense. I want you to really step into what your heart is screaming to do. I think each one of us has a dream in our heart. And I think society often says, well, it's just a dream, right? Like, of course you want that. But I don't think that's true. I think when we have a desire in our hearts, it is placed there by God. And so it is so important for us to get clear on what that looks like. What is it that we are feeling so called to have someday? And your brain is going to come up with reasons why that goal or that dream doesn't make sense. So I'm going to give you some tools on how you can get clarity when it comes to your goal. The first step is to quiet your mind. Allow yourself to disconnect from the world and allow yourself to connect with yourself and with God. Find pockets of times throughout the day where you can have quiet time with yourselves. I think as moms, I think for me as mom, my favorite time of the day is when my girls have quiet time because we have so much noise throughout the day, so much excitement. We go for walks, we learn, we are reading, we're playing. And then that quiet time, so much can happen for our girls, for our children. Right? The same thing applies to us as parents and entrepreneurs and as daughters of God. We need that time where we are quiet, where we have space to open up, to hear what God is calling us to do. In that time of prayer, one of my favorite things to do is start with praying the prayer to the Holy Spirit. Invite the Holy Spirit to be in that room with you and to enlighten your heart and your mind to open up to what God is calling you to create. And once you do that, make a list of 10 things that you would love to do. If there were no boundaries, no limitations, what would you love to create in the world? When you do this work, keep in mind that your brain is going to try to rationalize what you're writing down. It's going to say, that's crazy. You shouldn't do that. Who's going to do that? And I want you to practice, especially for those few minutes, stepping away from those thoughts and allowing yourself to just simply put it on the page. And you could just simply people watch your thoughts. If you imagine yourself in a park bench, there will be people passing by you, right? And you have two options in that moment. You can sit and judge each and every person that goes in front of you and say, oh my gosh, what did she do with her hair? What is she wearing? You could do that, or you could just simply watch them walk by you. This is what it looks like when you are people watching your thoughts. You just allow your thoughts to go through and you don't pause and ponder them. You just simply let them go by and you just focus on those 10 things that you would love to create in the world. Number 2 is get clear on your intentions. Ask yourself the following questions. Why do you feel called to create this? What will you do with it once it's manifested? I think so often we prevent ourselves or we retract ourselves from going after our goals and after our dreams because we have a thought that we're not going to do good with it. Let me give you an example on money. When we feel called to create a certain amount of money, we put emotions to the money as if money itself is wrong, it's bad. My coach is constantly saying, and I love this phrase, that if you are a bad person, you are going to be a bad person with money and you will be a bad person without it. The same goes if you are a caring person, you are going to be a caring person with money, and you are going to be a caring person without money. Money itself, there's nothing wrong with it. So if you're feeling called to create a certain amount of money, check within you on what your intentions are with that money. Because once you connect with what your deeper meaning for creating this goal is, you'll realize that there is more to it. It's not just creating the goal for the sake of the goal. Let me give you another example. One of the craziest goals I had was losing 100 pounds. The goal was to show up and become a person who could be free from food. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning, it is so powerful for us to know that the journey is goal. Whom you are becoming on the way to the goal is what really matters. We change, we transform, we become the next version of ourselves. And whatever goal you have in your heart to create will require you to become the next version of yourself. Number 3 is we need to build up our faith. Get used to feeling uncomfortable, my friend. Faith doesn't always feel amazing. I think the idea of faith is like, oh, we're going to feel so good and have so much faith. But truly, faith is not always a great feeling. I had a friend share with me an analogy, and I want to share this with you. And is if you imagine yourselves, you were walking on this path and you were praying and you're saying, Lord, I really want this for me. I really feel called to create this thing. And you're walking along, and then all of a sudden you find yourself at the edge of a cliff. And God is like, all right, that thing that you are dreaming of creating is right across this cliff. And God is like, all right, jump. Do you know what we need in order to jump? We need faith. And if you imagine yourself in that moment, in that cliff, at the end of a cliff where you don't have a parachute, you don't have anything to catch you, you're like, are you kidding me? You're asking me to take this step of courageous action and step into faith and do something that is insane? And God is like, yes, because I've got you. I'm right here to catch you. And the next thing you need to do is take that next courageous action and jump. And you can't wait by the cliff waiting for God to give you a parachute, because if you wait for that, then you're waiting for Him to give you substance and to give you protection on something outside of you and outside of Him. It's something external. Whereas if you jump and you take that leap of faith, you are leaning in faith and on God. The trick also with faith is that you need to believe ahead of time that what you have in your heart is coming. It's done. Faith means trusting ahead of time without seeing proof of it. This past week, I was in Holy Hour and I came across the song, Alleluia, Sing to Jesus. And at the end of verse 2, look it up. It is so good. It is the idea that we are never alone, that God is giving us what we need every step of the way. And that when we have faith because we trust in Him and we do not ask how. The problem is that our logical brain, our primitive brain, will consistently want to know how you are going to get there. And the way you step out of the how is by having faith. Now, number 4 is it's so important to surround yourself with people that uplift you. People that have done this before, this thing that you're wanting to create. People that perhaps behave in a way that you desire to behave, that act in a way that you want to act, that are the person who you would love to become. I'm going to give you a couple of examples and how I surround myself with people that really embody whom I'm trying to become. I'm not quite there, but I'm in the process of being there, right? And I need those people surrounding me so that I get that example. I see how they act and I start matching the energy that they're in. So an example would be for me in coaching, I try to surround myself with coaches who are in a much higher level than I am. Because I'm trying to get there. And in order for me to get there, I need to learn from those who have done it. Another example for me is actually in my homeschooling experiment and experience. I'm one that hasn't quite stepped into homeschooling is the best. I'm getting there. And so what I've done is surround myself with moms who absolutely love homeschooling. Because the mistake would be if I'm surrounding myself just with moms who want to have their kids go to school, which is nothing wrong, by the way, because they are an amazing example and amazing friends, and I love them dearly. But what happens is that when I don't surround myself with moms who are also homeschooling, I kind of go into shaming myself and believing that putting them in school is better than homeschooling. Neither one is true. Homeschooling isn't necessarily better than putting them in school, and putting them in school isn't necessarily better than putting them in homeschool. But for me, I feel called to homeschool my children. And so in order for me to really step into that energy of embracing homeschooling fully, I need to surround myself with these people who have done it, who are there, who believe in it fully, in order for me to match that energy. And we'll come back to the energy thing and how we feel and how we act, okay? Number 5 is this, is becoming the person who already has it. We believe that in order for us to believe, for lack of a better term, we need to see proof. And the reality is, it works backwards. You need to believe before you see proof. You don't need proof in order to believe. Because if you're relying on proof, then you're not living life in faith. You defeat the purpose of faith. It's like, hey, Jesus, give me the proof so that I can believe in you. Right? Like we believe in him ahead of time. And the same goes with our goals. We need to start believing that this goal is meant to work out. It is meant to exist. We are meant to become that person. And also treat it as an experiment. Because in the process of becoming that next version of you, you will change so much and expand so much that you will be a completely different person. And then you'll realize that even if you don't actually achieve the goal, which I am sure you will, you have become a new person, a new you. What I would love for you to practice is to get in touch with that version of you who already has that goal achieved. Ask yourself, how does she dress? How does she act? What energy is she in? What does she believe about herself and the world around her? For example, if your goal is to become a successful entrepreneur, some examples of that energy that person of you, that version of you who has it done, would be she would dress the part. She wouldn't stay in her pajamas all day. Because, and you know this, I'm sure you've experienced this, when you dress up, you get in a different energy. You feel different, you act differently. Another example is she allows herself to create. She doesn't spend time in making excuses. And the last example I have for you is that she thinks of others. She doesn't waste time thinking about what others will think of her. We waste so much time concerned on what others will think of us, if others will approve, that we don't actually step into whom we are trying to become and start creating on purpose. Now, the last piece of how to reach your goals is number 6. This one is my favorite and one of the hardest ones to do, and it is surrendering. When you surrender yourself to God's plan for you, to me, surrendering means to pray with confidence. I think so often we find ourselves praying and we say, Jesus, allow me to have this thing that I feel called to create, or, whatever is fine. Just give me what you want to give me. But with the feeling of lack, you pray with the feeling of doubt in your heart. And what this actually looks like is saying something. I love practicing the prayer of, Jesus, I feel called to create this thing. So I pray that this is aligned with your will. Or give me what's best for all the people involved. And notice the difference between the first and the second prayer. That first prayer is coming from doubt, from not wanting God to disappoint you. Whereas the second one is coming of telling God the truth, how you're really feeling. You are opening up to Him and saying, I feel called to create this in the world. Could you give it to me? Or what's best, what's even better, which basically allows you to feel God's love for you. God is never going to give you something that is worst. It might feel like it's not matching our expectation, but truly, when you look backwards, it's always the best. It always works out for the best. So practice praying to God and sharing with Him what you feel called to create, what that goal is, and then follow it with, or what's best for me and everyone involved. I also have been doing a lot of thought work and a lot of digging into surrendering, reading Mother Angelica's book. It is phenomenal. And what I want to share with you guys is that surrender does not mean to say to God, take it and then quit. That is not what surrender looks like. I think we get confused that when we surrender, we have to say, okay, Jesus, here it is. You take care of it. I don't have to do anything. And that is not what surrender looks like. What surrendering actually looks like is saying, Jesus, here it is. I give you my will, my desires, my hope, my dreams, my goal. It is yours. I trust in your will, and you allow the Holy Spirit to enlighten you, to give you ideas, and then you have to act. You have to take courageous actions. Ultimately, when you are on the process of reaching your goal, remember that the journey is the best part because you are becoming, you are developing. Remember that God is with you every step of the way. Remember that surrendering to Him allows you to open up to all of the possibilities. But you have to take courageous actions. Have fun digging into this, putting some of this into practice. I hope this is helpful. I hope you can take away some things and implement it in your life and in your business. And I cannot wait to see you next week. Have an amazing rest of your day. Until next time, God bless. Thank you for joining the Catholic Life Coach podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with a friend and leave a review to help this channel grow and reach more and more amazing Catholic women. Also, if you are interested in having a free coaching call with me, make sure to sign up for a time that works for you. The link is in the description. I cannot wait to see you there. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And until next one, God bless.